and we're here for freeform jazz now.
Freeform jazz explorations.
Okay, so let's give some context for what this is. Basically, since starting the podcast, you're one of the first people I wanted to have on. But it's also like because we talk so often and I kind of understand your schedule. I understand that like I could keep you as a backup guest for.
Of course.
So we had someone scheduled for this week. They couldn't make it. Things didn't work out. We slotted them in for next week. And now we've got Jay Naik, Mumblefoot Heart here. Good friend of mine. Acclaimed photographer.
Well,
certified bar rat.
And that is true.
That's true.
That's definitely true.
I don't know if there's a more accurate description of you than that.
No, that pretty much sums
checks it out.
That sums it up. Yeah.
No, like, okay, well, we've got like a lot of overlap between us. We're both photographers. We're both musicians. We both go to a ton of concerts. We're both engineers.
That is true.
Well, former engineers.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Sort of.
But yeah, like, what do you want to talk about here? We got a million things we can go to.
I'm not really sure. I guess we could talk about, maybe the origin story of our relationship meeting here.
Yeah, sure.
Because
I don't even remember when did we meet.
Well, let's see now. It's been probably
for the first couple of times we were just like running into each other. I was like, oh, it's that guy, right?
Kind of thing. Yeah, but I think it was upstairs in the lounge.
Was it?
Or no, not lounge. Up in the snack bar.
Snack bar or lounge? I can't remember.
I think it was actually in the snack bar when the place first opened. Sort of idea.
Or it might have been in the lounge when they were doing the jazz things.
It could have been as well. I mean, between those two things, again, it's when Bond Street first opened. So I mean, they weren't the scheduling. It was new and didn't stay out late. But of course, and I've been told about this place by a mutual friend. I think you know him as well, Jason King.
Yes.
Who I went to high school with and such. And so I had reconnected with him here because I'd moved back to Durham now for the last 13 years. And he had told me that this place was opening. And he told me about the concept. And I kept going, well, when is this place going to open? And finally, when it did sort of open, and again, it was during the day when it was really just a cafe, I think. That was my real first time in here. And then the snack bar would open up. So again, it was, good ambiance, good cocktails, good staff, right? And it wasn't that busy because, of course, it was a new concept.
Right?
Yeah, and so the fact is, I will just say this: the fact that this place opened, I mean, has been for me a godsend in the sense that it is that place, and I will say this to people when I meet them. It's funny, and I think you've seen me do it too as a regular customer here. Is that this place is all about culture and music and art. No sports, although we will do joking about that a little bit. But I mean, in the sense that...
Got to pay some bills.
Yeah, sure. So I mean, it really became one of those places where I wasn't sitting in a pub and drinking, the Molson's Canadian or what have you, and having people just talk about sports or something up on the TV all day.
Yeah.
Kind of idea. I have met yourself, for one thing, and most of the staff here and other... local musicians and business people, in the sense that it is about the culture, it's about the vibe. I have seen so many good acts here, and again, with so many venues in the building. I mean, I've seen I've been some nights where I will start upstairs, right? And there'll be, say, an acoustic act or a DJ night. And then there's another act, say, in the lounge. Yeah. Going on. And then in the basement.
That's the cool thing. Like, you can bar hop without even leaving the building.
That's what I'm saying. I can go to 5 different, I can maybe do
4 max.
Maybe 4 shows in one-stop shopping, right? So in that sense, that's, been one of the best things. And of course, it introduced me to a lot of people, again, to the Atria, places like the Biltmore as well, right? Where there are also, different scenes. But again, the music and people hanging out and really making, Oshawa a place to be. Like me growing up here, there weren't really a lot of places here at all. In fact, I can say that, and I think I've told you the stories. For instance, the only reason the late 70s or early 80s, that's when I was growing up here, was to come downtown, was to go to the movie theaters. The Biltmore, for instance, right? The Biltmore used to be the Odeon Theater when I was growing up here.
Okay.
And one of my salient memories is actually seeing Star Wars when it first came out.
That's cool, actually.
In 1977, I'll say it, I was 7 years old. And so I mean, I would go to the movie theaters here, and I was actually, just before I came out, I was talking to my sister about the fact that, you would come to the movies as a tween, ride your bike or whatever, or maybe take a bus, or your parents would drop you off.
Sure.
But you went to the movie and then you left. Like you did not hang around because there wasn't really much going around. Kind of idea, right? So, as a mid-50s adult now, at least there are several places, and this is for me, the top spot kind of idea. So that kind of idea. So yeah.
Well, and because you and I started hanging out at trivia a lot. That's been our thing, right? For sure. Shout out to Eddie.
Yep.
What's your favorite show you've been to in this place?
That's a good one because I've seen, and that's the thing. I've seen so many good local acts, friends of mine, that we've met here, and people playing upstairs. The small, intimate things are always, in my mind, kind of better in the sense that it's smaller, intimate. Trying to cast back because I've seen some of the things. I'll just say this, and I'm an old rock and roll guitar player and I hardly play anymore, but I think it was last summer, there was a Zeppelin cover band. I can't remember their name.
Oh, Zeppology.
Yeah, that's right. It was Zeppology. And you know what? It was one of those things where, okay, it's a Zepp band. And I will just say, yeah, I was here. And they were playing. And so, okay, yeah, I'll go to the show. And, I was actually super surprised. So I'll say one thing. First of all, the band had the gear. Like I was one of those guys that's going, like the guy had like at least 4 Les Pauls.
Yeah. And did you commit to the bid enough to buy a double neck guitar?
Oh, yeah. And he had the one. I'm going, okay. And he had Zoso painted on his cabinet.
Oh,
right?
wow.
Yeah. And the drummer had like one of those old school Ludwig orange shell kits. So I'm going, all right. And so they played. And the singer too, like again, as an actor, he was evoking Robert Plant, and so he could sing the notes, but he had that thing, and they did a lot of deep cuts too. Like I remember, like they did, stuff that as a Zeppelin fan, I remember, I think they did. Again, I'll just say, second album off of Physical Graffiti. I think they did Down by the Sea, or I think it's Down by the Sea. I think they did part of it.
Okay,
because they had a keyboard setup, and I was like. I haven't heard anyone ever play this live other than watching a Zeppelin DVD, right?
Sure.
So that kind of thing. So, it was a great surprise, good act. And so, that was one of those, when I showed up, I was like, yeah, I'm a Zepp fan, but, it's like, whatever, how, they're going to play out whatever that I know. Is it going to be is it going to be singing I'm in my car listening to Q107?
Okay.
But no, it wasn't. It was a good live show. There was a good enough crowd. And, I'm a certain age. There were several... That's why I guess they had their own fan base. There were people who were talking that they'd followed the band, and I went, okay, that's interesting. That you'd follow the cover band sort of thing like that. But no, that was a good one.
Quick thing, easy about hitting the table.
Oh yeah,
that comes through the mics.
Oh, okay, yeah, no, good to know. Yeah.
Yeah, but so that was a main stage or 222?
That was.
I'm forgetting.
That was at 222 actually. It was in the basement. Yeah. As on the main stage, again, sort of the surprise things. I'm trying to remember the name of the band. It was, they were kind of they did a bunch of 80s stuff. And I cannot remember the band name at all. They did a lot of 80s stuff. They looked like, and the thing is too, it was one of those, I walked into the main stage. I see these older gentlemen sort of dressed up. I'm going, are these guys Adam Ant or Judas Priest? Because it was sort of the look, but they were playing Joy Division. Okay. so I was like, the look doesn't match the music, but I go, okay, this is working. And they did a lot of really good 80s stuff. They did it well. And again, not stuff that I necessarily listen to, but I go, no, I can appreciate it. So again, it was a surprising kind of gig, right? And so that's the thing is there are things you may want to see, but I'm kind of the person that I will go out and see something that, okay, I don't know what this is. And see what happens.
That's the kind of thing that I want to encourage with this podcast is the idea of go to a show that you don't know what's going to happen.
Exactly.
Right? It drives me nuts when you find people who are like, oh, I went to a concert 3 years ago and I saw Taylor Swift. And you're like,
sure. And again, I think
some people relate to it that way and that's fine. Yeah. It's just for the price of your Taylor Swift ticket, you could have gone to a concert every week.
And probably bought a car.
Yeah.
But the Taylor Swift is a good example in the sense that, there were times, I rarely would go to Downtown Toronto for a big act. I can tell you the last one I went to, and again, this was it was Zakir Hussain, who was an Indian tabla player, and it was all percussion.
Oh, I know him.
Yeah, and I finally got to see him, and again, the year later he passed away. So I finally got to see him, right? And it was at Massey Hall, and That was my first time in the new refurbished Hall. That was a great show. And, you know, I would pick and choose my battles, but all the big acts that I see coming into Toronto, I can't be bothered. I can't be bothered because it's just so hard to schlep into Toronto.
Right.
And the ticket prices are like exorbitant. Sometimes, you know, I think, and I'm not poo-pooing anybody, I think I can remember hearing people paying $300 for Oasis. And so,
which probably is a good price.
Again, it probably is because of that. But again, like I was saying, it's like roll it back. I would rather see something that, at this point, I'm like something is unknown, right?
Yeah.
Or take a chance. Again, especially here at Bond Street or over at Atria, you and I, you know, actually one of the best times we was at Atria was, and it was Rando. You and I were upstairs with our friend Tina, and she popped in to see us and told us, and there was a ska night going on. Do you remember this? We were both.
I think I wasn't there for that one.
No, this was Aurora's Reef.
Oh no, that was reggae.
It was
reggae ska.
Reggae night. Yeah, that was. I mean, that kind of thing. It's like I love that stuff, but you don't get to see it a lot or hear about it. So I was there. We popped in, and it was phenomenal. And it was and it was at the show. I think there was a $10 cover, which was like sort of fine, whatever. Yeah, that's easy peasy, right? So,
like, imagine if you took that $300 you would have gone to Oasis with and just went to Atria and handed it to the band.
Well, yeah, or
that's the makings of a brilliant night.
Yes,
right,
and that kind of thing for sure, right? It's the random thing, especially in here. When I say random, I mean there's some really big acts coming. I mean, Big Sugar just played, and unfortunately I couldn't go. I was ill, but you know, 5440 is coming. Yeah, right? That's a Dwayne Gretzky
was a couple weeks ago.
Again, and that was I missed that, and that was just my own stupidity. But again, the smaller things, the local things, I think another one we can talk about. We say was the two guitar players that came. It was they were both acoustic tapping guitar guys.
Oh, in the lounge. I forget.
And it was a very quiet show. I'd never heard of these guys.
Yeah,
and that kind of brilliant. I mean, these guys were both brilliant.
Yeah,
and. You know, I think the tickets were like maybe $40. But for the intimacy of seeing two incredible musicians that close was, you know, I you can't beat that, right? I mean, you can't beat that experience in my view, right? So yeah, those are the kind of things that I would rather, you know, spend my time doing.
Yeah. So something you touched on here with like, because you're like a gear kind of person, like, you know. There's like a cool thing that musicians do when they go to a show where you kind of start scanning everything on the stage. You're like, what does he have?
Sure.
And like, also with photographers, you see a photographer walking around. You're like, what do you got?
Yeah, the gear. And so again, I guess as an engineer and as a gear guy, I mean, I played in band back in Ottawa. And again, I've always said it, I had more money than talent. So because I was playing with these guys, like I had my own guitar, which I still have, but I would jam with these guys. It became sort of a weekly jam session, and it took us years before we finally decided to go out and play in some of the bars in Ottawa, which was much more. I mean, that was way more fun, right? So, you know, I bought my guitar. So growing up, I would read it and stuff. So yeah, I mean, I will, you know, hey, what's that guy playing? What's that kind of thing doing? And it just becomes interesting. But in the end, it's like, I don't really care what you got.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing with the tool? Right. And that's, you know, it takes a long time to sort of focus on that. Even with photography, you know, I was actually looking back at some of the shots at the Sloan show that we saw last year. You know, I took a picture of some of their backline just to kind of go, yeah. And I was actually looking at some of that stuff and I went, oh yeah, I should, you know, I didn't do anything with it, but it was just like, oh yeah, the guy's got a nice Marshall rectifier head on top of a Mesa Boogie and a Marshall cab. Yeah, right. So I mean, it's sort of part of the visuals of anything else if you grow up, right? And me growing up.
Oh no, like you can't really tell the difference in sound between one guitar or another.
Not
well,
really.
Like you can if you're really paying attention in a live setting. Probably not.
No. And once again, it's everybody's amps gets turned to 11. You really can't really tell, and that was a big joke, especially, you know, in a jam situation in my band. You know, it always became, you know, the guitars were turned to 2, and then somebody would reach back and turn up to 3, and then that guy has to turn to 3. Next thing you know, you can't hear anything.
This is the thing that drives me nuts with guitarists who don't realize there's a microphone in front of the amp. And like, if you can't hear yourself, tell the sound tech to turn you up in the monitors. Don't turn yourself up.
Yeah, that's obviously a big thing, right? I mean, I learned that too, like being in a band, just going, yeah, okay, we're gonna mic up our cabs, great. Wave at the sound guy, and that's the thing too, is like we were never that good. And again, too, like playing with monitors too, it was like, have we got a good monitor mix? You go, it's good enough. Just go.
Yeah, exactly.
And I will tell you, I was just.
Well, that's the difference between like a lower level show and like a really premium one is like sometimes they have a second sound tech just doing monitors.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right. Like in main stage, I think they do that for almost everything.
I would, and because of the acts that are coming in the space, yeah, and they do it, and yeah. That's the thing. I've never used in-ear monitors.
Yeah, that's a whole other level.
Yeah, that would be an experience. I can tell you this though, that because in the band I played, I did get custom earplugs.
Oh, earplugs, yeah.
Yeah, like I actually went to like the Canadian Hearing Society in Ottawa, and it was a good deal.
Oh, you got the really fancy ones.
Well, I mean, they did a big hearing test, and then I actually got like this is one of those excruciating things I can remember. I actually had to sit there and have a mold poured into my ear. And it's, you had to sit still for like 2 minutes and then they pull it out. Oh. And then so I have these like pretty good earplugs that are like, custom made for my actual ear canals, right? And they have little 10 decibel, 15 decibel pads. So, I mean, when I played in my band and we would play on several stages, I would just use that just to be able to isolate myself because I would do backing vocals sometimes. And then, I'm just, because we were loud, right? Like,
it's a... You need it if you're going to do it frequently at all, right? Yeah. Like I wear earplugs when we're at shows.
Yeah, and that's a smart thing. Yeah, and so when I was playing, the experience of like not being able to hear yourself sing, right? That is a horrible feeling, and I can tell sometimes when I see people do it.
Oh no, it sticks out that like you probably can't tell what you sound like right now.
Exactly, and so I will say that the first time that happened to me. I was playing in a band and we were like, it was a high tech thing, all the high tech geeks in Ottawa, like most of us worked at Nortel at the time. There was like a high tech, like sort of like band competition. And so we entered it. And so the thing is like all the other bands would do something like some high tech, like spoof on like whatever, they were working in. And we just did rock covers and we had to write your own original song. And of course it was all drug infused lyrics that's what we did. But I remember that show, like I never really like played on a stage in a rock band. And I got up and we started playing and I'm doing backup vocals. And I leaned to a mic and I can't hear myself at all. And I go, and the only picture that came in my head is I feel like Finnegan. Okay, I'm glad you got that right. Finnegan, the puppet from Mr. Dress Up, with that band. Like, so that's what it was. I felt like a sock puppet with no sound. I just kind of went, and so we did the show or whatever. And of course, the friends were there and everything. You guys, you get told, you guys are great. And I'm just going, in my head, I'm going, really? And then
I know, right?
And that became, and you and I have discussed it, like, because I'd actually done theater here in high school, it was just like, doing a live performance, it's like, you're always your own worst critic.
Yes.
Right? Anything in music or theater or anything when you're performing, you are always hardest on yourself. And so there was a time when I would go, man, that really sucked or this and that. And then I kind of like when I would have a lot of people go, no, you guys are really great. You have to kind of like take a step back and go, you know what? If everybody had a good time.
Fuck it. That's what matters, right?
Yeah, everybody had a good time. And you didn't
not all lying to say you were good.
Yeah. And because, the things I would use as comparison is, in theater, I would say it's not like people are sitting there with the script, flipping through it page by page, go, you missed that line on page 3. It's just like, when you're playing Led Zeppelin, you hit the wrong bar. I don't think somebody's going to come and go, you weren't really playing in Mixolydian.
Excuse me, I was taking notes.
Yeah. I mean, I look at my tablature here on my app and
I was following along actually from the back of the room.
And if you ever got that, you kind of go like,
you're the asshole here. Like,
I'm not the problem here. I think you're the problem. So that's the kind of approach. And those kind of things. So
okay, like that's a funny conversation there of like audience etiquette and like what are some misfires you've seen there?
So misfire, I will say like here's a modern thing, and I think I see it more and more is that, and I will do it too as a photographer. Like if I'm not taking shots of it, I might take a quick video,
okay,
right, and take a slice right? And when I say it's like that, for me, I try to give a minute, especially like say the smaller acts, right, upstairs, especially if they're friends. I'm trying to promote them and the space on my account, like right there. But if you go to a show and you just see a sea of people on their cell phones like this, right? Like you are not paying attention to the show right now. You're paying attention to get whatever memory you think you want on your phone, and everyone else is doing it.
Just follow me. Just follow me. Yeah. You'll get the memories. Don't worry. I'll do a great job.
Exactly. See, so that thing, right? I mean, it becomes ridiculous. And, there's other things too like that. Well, when people, and it depends on here's another one. I don't think. Especially upstairs, a small acoustic act, because I've had this happen to me too, just playing in a band. I mean, you can play and people maybe aren't paying attention. That's fine. But when the song ends, give the artist a hand.
Yeah.
Give a...
Or the one-handed snap, or like a smack table or something.
Yeah, but I mean, give some acknowledgement to the act that's playing. And maybe I try to do it for every track when I'm playing, but just do that, because anybody who plays, and I'm sure people that we know would say that, it's just like, you become a professional, you play and people aren't paying. But it's like, give an acknowledgement. This is a human trying to give you some entertainment.
When you're standing up there and you finish a song to silence, you're like, yeah, okay, here's another one.
So that thing, give some acknowledgement. There's a thing. As we're talking about it, I will just say this. Maybe don't get so drunk, because here I can remember a story from my first gig. I think I told you this story. So I played in this band. We were called Diesel Fitter. And, we were playing rock covers. And we played at this pub called the Lockmaster, which was an old school. It would be like the Atria, that kind of thing.
Okay.
So at the end of our first set, we would do like a Zeppelin mashup. We did The Ocean, and then we went into Stairway to Heaven. So there was this, I guess, regular whatever who's walking around, and we launched into the Zeppelin. He had his quart of beer, a quart, mind you. So, the big...
they don't sell those anymore.
Oh, yeah, no.
Probably for good reason.
Well, we get them at the Atria. You'll see me drinking a quart.
Oh, the big Coronas.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So he got up on a chair and was giving us, the rock salutes. And all of a sudden, though, he fell off the chair. And so it is one of those moments in my life where I'm doing this, and I'm playing.
You're like, oh God, are you okay?
But it was like this guy is gonna die. That's the way it played in my head. And it was sort of in slow motion to me. He landed on his head, but bounced straight back up and did not spill a drop of his beer.
Wow.
So that was
dedication.
So we ended the set, and I remember going up to check on him. Hey, buddy, you're okay? And he was fine, probably because he'd already had about 8 of those bottles.
There you go.
And then he got kind of obnoxious, and it was one of those. Okay.
Oh, you've seen this episode before.
And actually, one of the serving staff, who was a big guy, just kind of took him to a side door and literally launched him out the side of the door. And I kind of went,
don't worry if he hits his head.
And that's exactly, I said, is that guy? Or he goes, no, that's Bob.
Oh.
And I go, and so this is in Bank Street in Ottawa. So people notice, I went, is he one of your daytime regs? And he goes, yeah. He's already been here. We bounced him out at 4 hours ago. He'll go down the street, have a couple more till he gets bounced out. Somehow we got back in. He was hassling you guys. I bounced him again. And I went, yep, this is rock and roll. Right? So, I mean, those kind of stories can happen, right? So, maybe don't be that guy. I don't know.
Well, be that guy, but once a year.
Yeah, maybe once a year.
Yeah.
If you don't spill your beer, that's probably a good thing. So,
yeah. I mean, don't spill the beer ever. That's just wasteful.
Wow, that's very wasteful. And, you might cause slippiness for other people.
Might cause slippiness. You might cause stickiness. I've had that.
Yeah. Stickiness is definitely.
Where you get your foot stuck in some shit right at the front of the stage.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not ideal. Want to change gears and talk about photography for a bit?
Sure. Yeah.
Well, because in so many ways, I feel like you and I approach photography the same, right?
Sure.
But by nature of this is a very technical thing. And I think technical challenges are something that motivate both of us. Mm-hmm. But it also has the benefit of you do get immediate gratification when you take a photo.
You can. Yeah.
As I say it, I realize you do the film thing, so you don't.
Yeah. So I will
purpose.
Yeah, I will shoot on film, but on digital. Yeah. So I will say this, and the photography, like for me, I got into photography and I kind of really wanted to for a while. And for me, it was the thing. I would just say when I moved back here, it was just after my dad passed away, and I was taking care of my mom, and so I wasn't working at the time too because I was taking care of my mom full time. Like I needed something, and so actually a good friend of mine lent me like a little point and shoot.
Okay.
And so when my sister was here on the weekends, I would go out at night and I would do night scenes because I had that sort of interest, and that really did it for me.
And sorry, this point and shoot, that was a film or a digital?
That was a digital.
At that time.
It was a digital clip, yeah. Because I grew up like shooting on little film cameras, but I really didn't know. It was that point and shoot where you just like put in some film and went click, 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 click. I didn't really know any thing, like most people growing up in the 70s and the 80s, right? So when I found, and I will say this, just like guitars, meticulous research, and I went on, Facebook and Kijiji and bought my first used camera, bought a Nikon, whatever. And I really wanted to shoot the stars, astrophotography. That's what really got me started and stuff. And so I did it in my parking lot, and I did very simple things. And that's the thing. The simple things taught me more, than trying to do really complicated things. And astrophotography in and of itself is complicated. And I can go on and on about that. But just doing like the basics really taught me a lot about long exposure and night stuff and those concepts. I moved on to a lot of landscapes because that's what I would do to like sort of get out of my house because I was sort of stuck in my home. So all in the back roads that I'd grown up around here, I've done a lot of landscapes, architecture and this and such and such. When I started hanging out here, and you and I band shot. So, I grew up looking at those photos or whatever. I've never done it. So, I've done some. It's a good subject. I just haven't done some in a while. But it's a different way of doing things for sure. Right. Than other things that I've done. Because again, I don't shoot a lot of people. I shoot a lot
That's where you and I are very different in that. And like, I didn't expect to really enjoy doing portraiture and like taking photos of people. But like, as I got into this, it was like, this is really the only thing that motivates me.
And so that you find a subject. So for me, a lot of it was learning about landscapes or architecture. And then in the last couple of years, you've seen I do a lot of abstract photography and that,
freaky art shit.
Yeah, and that's what I like to. Light painting is one thing that I do. So I will take a light source and I go into a dark room. I'll say some of the last stuff I just did. I just take some cheap LED lights and I have put them up on slinkies. Slinkies are actually a really great tool of letting a light source bounce around and make patterns on a long exposure. And so it's a very surreal or abstract kind of thing. But I super enjoy it because I am the one creating the scene, right?
Yes.
That's what I enjoy. So another thing that I know that you've seen me do, it's called ICM, intentional camera.
There we go.
Blurring. So a long exposures, and I really like doing it with bands, actually. That was the thing. I've done it.
I found with drummers, it's really cool.
With drummers, yeah, it's good. But I like it in the sense that it reminds me of some of the old double exposure stuff you would see on 70s bands, right? And it's a different concept, but it is taking the artist and then sort of, one of the things I really like when I can get it done right is sort of having another blurred aspect of that artist beside them, but here or there or whatever, right? That thing, it just, to me, it's just more of a abstract way of looking at something, right? So that, to me, again, I enjoy that because I'm creating the scene as opposed to trying to capture it statically, right?
Yeah.
Like trying to capture the perfection of the action. Like yourself, like yourself are very, the band photos that you will do or the people, you capture people in that now and you get that very human moment. I'm trying to create something abstract, right?
Yes.
And that's what I do. And so, that for me as a photographer is what I mostly enjoy doing.
Well, it's the difference between approaching photography as an art versus approaching photography as a utility.
I think that's
right. Because there's I take my phone out and take a picture of this little note that I found or a poster or something.
That's a very utility thing. And, and that's the thing. There are times, that's funny. I think I talked to that. because, I would carry my camera a lot. I haven't done it lately just because of health issues and such right now. But
thing's heavy.
Yeah, well, it can be. Yeah, and I've got arthritic hands and such. But the constant, like I've had a cell phone, and again too, I came late to the game with the cell phone. But I wouldn't use my cell phone when they like selfies. Yeah, I am not a selfie person.
No,
I think people know me. I think if you go look on my Instagram, I think there's a picture of me in my profile. You might find a picture of me that I may have taken for one reason and once every, 3 years.
Sure.
Because, and I'll ask you this too, is in the sense that me as a photographer, I am not part of the scene. I'm not the subject.
Exactly.
That is the way I treat photography. It's like, I'm the one giving you a scene into something else.
Yeah. Like if I'm taking pictures of myself, it's as a last resort because there is nothing else.
And there's
or like sometimes I'll do the thing where I'll like hand the bar staff my camera and like let them take pictures of me. That can be fun.
That can be fun. And because again, that's somebody else's vision of you, right? Me taking a selfie where like I was like this bar, I'm like, I don't want to look at me. I don't think.
Who are you showing yourself off to? Is the
exactly and that's how I'm
like,
right?
Yeah, you should have a proper headshot.
Sure,
and like I've done them for you.
Yeah,
I've sent them to you.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, but like for what do you need it for, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So again, yeah. So for that's why like my phone, I would use my phone for the utility things. Sometimes ago, like a lot of times, like I'd be out taking. Oh, I'm at this place. I want to come back with my so-called real camera.
I know.
Right. And it's a good visual memory of like, oh, that's what I was thinking at that time, because 3 weeks later I go, what was I looking at again? Like, oh, it's that thing. Right. Yeah. So in that sense, yeah. Right. But I mean, I don't know where we're going with this, but I mean, the power of phones are good. They're so ubiquitous, but I think I will say this, and I think you might tend to agree, is that I have found that especially the selfie-ness of things has really like taken away the artistry of photography. In other words, because people don't, and I get it, like you want to capture a moment, but I mean, if all you're doing is always capturing your moments or whatever, that's good. But I mean, I'm trying to do something else with my photography.
Yeah.
Right? And that's just me. And I'm not trying to be.
Well, there's like a whole, I remember I watched like a long video about this at one point. I'll send it to you later. But of like the extended history of the selfie. And like, because this was it's one of the first things people did with cameras is take a picture of themselves, right? After you've taken pictures of everything else.
Sure. Yeah.
Right? Like it's a reasonable thing for someone to want to do. But I think having the ability to share immediately is what corrupted it.
That actually, and there you go. The immediacy of the sharing, I think you've hit the nail on the head in that sense that you were trying to, it's one thing to capture a moment, but it's like, it's like, bam. And then immediately like look down at your phone to go to whatever social media you're looking at, right?
And you're leaving whatever's going on in the world.
Exactly. To go, here I am. This is what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing. That is ubiquitous now. And it kind of, drives me nuts in the sense that it's okay. But was there anything that you were trying to do other than to show up like, hey, look at me kind of idea, right? Now, if you're on a trip or something, it's like, okay, like show me some of the nice things that you saw.
Well, and this is like my picture in front of the Eiffel Tower when I went, right?
And the thing is, too, I would just say, it's like, please show me the details of the Eiffel Tower, not what you were wearing. Do you know what I'm trying to say? It's like
I could get behind either, actually.
I get, but
right, that's a different subject, what is your intention? I think if you didn't take any like really good photos of the Eiffel Tower itself, you're wasting your trip to France.
Well,
but
and so there's it's like you're more interested in trying to capture you, and you'll go, this is me at the Eiffel Tower, and your phone is here, and all I can see is this and a metal girding, and I go, well, is that
okay? But here's
the
thing,
Eiffel Tower, or is that like the subway? I don't know.
Here's the thing that I kind of do struggle with sometimes of like, okay, so let's say you go to the Eiffel Tower and you're going to take some pictures of it. Are you going to take basically an identical picture to what someone else has taken? And does that have any value to it?
And that's right,
because what makes it unique is if you are standing in front of it.
That can be, or a unique take on architecture. And again, too, there is something to be done. Again, it's your own memory. So you took a picture of something, sure. And I can tell you, like, I have been to the Eiffel Tower. And I'm trying to remember. Actually, I would have some really bad shots because I will tell you, here's the oldest technology. It was a Sony disc camera. You actually,
What?
yeah, you're going what? So in the
That's a new one.
This is 1986.
Okay.
So you could get these cameras, and I think I still have it. It's kind of like if you've seen a ViewMaster disc.
Yeah.
The same kind of technology, but you could actually, that was how the film was. It was actually on
Oh, it's just like a revolving.
Yeah. And so
weird.
Yeah, it was weird, but it kind of made the camera like nice and flat and handy to like pack, right? Because the 35 millimeter can would still, have to be like that.
Yeah.
So the body of the camera. Anyway, so I had one of those, not the greatest fidelity, but I can remember like taking some of those pictures, but again, those old school, like, they're kind of crappy lens or whatever. So, and I'm a kid. I'm 16 at the time. Composition or whatever, right? I'm just trying to capture my memory of this thing, right? So it's very nostalgic. Whatever was a great photography, but I go, I'm 16. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. So
Yeah, whatever.
That's fine, right? So I guess flash forward now. I guess as we're talking about like the modern, you can do really amazing things with your cell phones now.
Oh yeah.
Right, and there are actually like professional photographers who will use it, and I'm always amazed because I'll go. Because it's just a different technique, it's a different tool.
Yeah.
And
it forces you, if you want it to be better than everyone else's cell phone photos, you have to understand lighting and composition and all these other things, right?
And again, that's what I'm saying is that you can use your cell phone to do really great, what I would call art, or you can capture the memory.
Yeah.
Because
it's not everything is either art or utility. There's a spectrum here.
There's a spectrum there, and which is fine, right? But I mean, that's the kind of thing in the sense that's why, like, when I approach my photography, I'm trying to capture something that should be, some kind of artistic value in my sense. That's how I try to think of it. And that's why for me, it's hardest in the band sense, or again, like the people thing, because I might feel like I look at you have focused on it very, very well, obviously. I'm not doing it all the time. When I do it, I'm all right. Like, I'm all right. But I mean, I will look at other people's and I go, oh, yeah. But
well, it's the difference of like, I am required by my job to get the shot.
Of course.
Where you would really like to get the shot.
That's a great way of putting it. Yeah. And that's why I don't put the pressure on myself in those situations. Because I
feel like that might be a healthier way to relate to this.
Yeah.
Right? Because I feel pressure, right?
You have to feel pressure because it's a professional thing.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so that's why I understand that. And like you and I have done some things where I will, like put it this way, I would help you do things like, okay, hey, that guy's doing that or whatever. Or I can remember, I think not you, Mickey, our pal Mickey.
Yes.
One time, Mickey was shooting over at the Biltmore, and I think it was the Econoline Crush show. All of a sudden, she was standing beside me. She's got her big zoom lens, right? Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, she grabbed some rickety chair and was trying to stand on it. And I'm ladder. Like, and I immediately sort of grabbed onto the chair for her. And I said, "Go ahead, Mickey." Like, she knew me, and I said, "No, I know what you're doing. I'm going to help you get that shot," right? Whereas the rest of the crowd was just sort of like this, or they were probably more busy. You because your cell phone. They were probably trying to I'm going to take a cell phone with this person, and maybe they'll fall down. Unfortunately, I hate to say that about human nature, but that's sometimes what it feels like. But
if you got that photo, she would want it.
The falling down thing. But at least it was like I think I had my camera. So no, okay, I'm going to help you get that because you are the pro, and I will help you get the real shot.
Sure,
right. So in that sense, and that's why again, as photographers too, we try to help each other with stuff like point out some stuff and this, and maybe
point out some stuff. Yeah. Well, and these are things like I'll show up to trivia one week with like a. Jay, I just got this 85 millimeter and I'm like trying to kind of gauge because distances all feel different. Yep. And we'll have like really technical conversations about very specific things. Sure. Right. And that's like the kind of thing that I really enjoy doing. Right.
And yeah, that's true. And that's the thing. It like any kind of art, I think too, there is a technical side to it to get to where you want it to be. Right?
Yeah. And I think having conversations about it is a way of exploring it really rapidly and understanding different perspectives on these things.
And again, the human factor, right? Because otherwise, we could all be at home watching YouTube videos because we all do that. I know I do, which is a great way of learning stuff too. But I mean, it's still pretty static. Yeah. Right. So.
And you don't necessarily get people who are going to say, oh, it would be really cool if you used this lens there right now.
Exactly. Yeah. And so that's why, especially you and I have done that. It's funny. You up in the snack bar. I remember one time, I bought this really big lens and I pulled it out and I went,
you're like, I think it was a 300.
I think it was a 300 that I bought. So that's a really big lens. And it was manual focus too, which of course we make fun of.
Yeah.
But it's just something that, I have done because of the astrophotography.
Yeah.
Actually, I go and buy. I'm always generally thinking of manual focus, and especially when I'm shooting on film, I'm manual focus just because, for me personally, it makes me still part of the process.
Well, and I think there's a thing there in terms of like self-imposed limitations.
Yeah, that's
a good puts you into a box that forces creativity.
I like the way you said that. Limitations, forcing yourself for creativity.
Or like sometimes I'll show up and be like, I want to only use this lens tonight.
Exactly.
Even though I have other shit I could be using, but like I want to try and force myself to do this type of photo.
Yeah, this one lens and the one camera, the one lens in that moment, just for focus on the consistency of the tool that you're using there.
Right.
And that's what, think of like guitarists, right? Sometimes you go I have several guitars, right? And I go, this, you can go like the Spinal Tap row going, but this one goes to 11, or can you hear this flaming or whatever? But
I got Floyd Rose on this one.
Oh yeah, I got a Floyd Rose on this one, and this one has 2 necks. Maybe it should have 3. But it's I can remember. That's why we'll go to the open mic night, right? I have never done open mic. I still need to do it. I have to practice, and we've talked about it. But open mic is one of those things, again, because I played in a rock band. I was in a 5-piece rock band, and I've done that. I've done theater. But being a solo artist, just with and usually an acoustic guitar, right? Doesn't really matter, like electric or whatever. But an acoustic guitar, and you and your voice and your guitar, or whatever instrument you want to pick necessarily, and get through 3 songs, right? The simplicity, there's a simplicity of it, but there's work on that, work on your musicality with that, right? Same sort of idea is what I'm trying to say. It's when, like you were saying about using one lens and one camera for the one show. Okay, because you're focusing on that tool, I would say, as a
right.
tool,
Well,
right?
and each of them has particular things that I'm going to do, right? Like if I'm using the 85, I'm probably taking pictures of a person. If I'm using a 35, it's kind of more of a flexible tool. I'm walking around doing it might be one person, it might be a group of people. But it's like crowd shots.
And again,
or the 16 is like wide crowd shots, like the whole room, right? And I think in terms of that before I've even walked into it.
Yeah, and that's why with photography, that's why you think about that from a visual aspect of what you want to capture, right?
And it's a good thing to set your goals for the night of I want to do this and I'm going to use that photo for this purpose.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So here's a good question. If money were no object, what would your photography rig look like?
That's a really good question, because especially I would just say that I spend lots of money on gear, like lots of people have, but I have
very particular things for very particular tasks.
Sure, yeah, I would say for my astrophotography, I wanted really big telescopes, but that I have a really nice one, really good optics, but it's small and it's compact, right? So and I haven't really used that much, but I have the potential of it, right? So now when you're talking about it, preface no object. So here you go. I think of things like, so again, I'll go back to film and the digital aspect, a Hasselblad.
There you go.
Right? The Hasselblad. Now I would still prefer to get a film one because I'm an old school guy, and those are $3,000 a pop right now. Like the old school ones, because they're film and they're hard, and the digital back, they're like 20,000 sometimes, I think. The last time I priced one of those.
I think the body alone is 8.
Yeah, that sounds about right. The body alone, and then
for the lowest end.
Yeah. And again, too, there's some edit, but there are professionals that I see and use that, and what comes out of it is really quite compelling. Yeah. Right.
But then again, there's a question of, why do you need it?
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's why. Why do you need it, right?
There are situations where you do, right? Like if you're printing billboards, yes, that's where that is necessary.
That's where it'd be. If you're doing concerts, maybe not so much. Yeah.
I don't know why you would want it.
Yeah. And well, again, the delicacy, that's again, taking a $20,000 camera to a rock show when somebody's going to bump into me and dump a beer on me by accident.
Hey, they're built for it, but like.
They should be. Yeah, well, they should be. But then again, do you really want to risk your $20,000 investment on that? There you go. It's just
and there's also like limitations that come along with having that many megapixels.
For sure. Yeah,
right? Because like motion blur becomes more prevalent because you have more detail to it.
Yeah, the sensitivity.
So you need to go even faster on your shutter.
Yep. Yeah.
Which means even higher on your ISO probably.
Yeah.
And there's trade-offs in quality that happen here.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? Like the Hasselblad is really a studio tool. The way I see it,
and most people will use it as a studio tool too. And again, as me not,
I've never seen one out in the wild.
Yeah, I've never seen it when out in the wild myself. I think of like cinema cameras. It's something I don't do a lot of video. I've thought of it, and so every now and then I go looking at cinema cameras, and so it used to be like I'm thinking the DaVinci Resolve.
Yeah.
The software.
Oh, Blackmagic.
Blackmagic, thank you. So, the technology, that's why the price points have really
One of those is actually on my maybe soon list.
And there you go. And so the thing is, I would look at those in the last 10 years when I was learning my photography. I would look at something like that. And so the 4K for once, was like...
Oh, no, it's like a $1,200 camera. Like, it's a really good price. And you get the full version of DaVinci Resolve, which is $400 on its own.
Yeah. So, I mean, so the cinema cameras, right? The video aspect and sort of trying to make, I would do like sort of like, well, I don't know what I would do necessarily, but longer film, kind of longer pan shots. And again, too, I'll say this, I think about like I do have like an 8mm old school camera. I bought it for $25 and I shot like one roll on it and it was fun. I still have to do more of it, but like thinking still shots is one thing, of course. Thinking in video, thinking of cinematic terms and how to shoot something. Yeah. Right?
Change in perspective.
Completely change in perspective on what you're trying to
do.
And
my advice is really start with your phone and like learn editing as your first step.
Those are great points, but to go back to if price was no object,
right?
The modern Airy digitals or the Red Dragons, yeah, and you see them, and that's the thing. I mean, I know some people in the film industry, kind of thing, just from high school, and so I will look at those technological things, what you can do with those, especially with the form factor, right? Like a good. I think it's called the Red Dragon. It can be handheld.
I'm talking about like the brick style.
Yeah, right. But I mean, and super good cinematic, lensing that comes on it.
Yeah.
And again, the built-in protocols that are actually in the body.
Yeah, the codecs.
Exactly. Yeah, the codecs that are already involved, so that you don't necessarily have to take your reel and then go into an editing base suite and then go, and then, I mean, you've got the choices right there with the tool there, which is very handy. So in that sense, that would be kind of cool if money were no object. So
right. But okay, it's one of those funny things where you start looking into those cameras and you realize the big advantage you get over a camera like that versus a camera like this is really high bitrate footage. But then your first thing is, so now I need to stop using SD cards. I have to get CF Express cards.
Oh, yeah.
And then my shoot is going to be 250 gigabytes per camera.
Yeah.
So I need to now buy hard drives to handle all of that. Yeah. And it's like and also the sensor size is different and the camera mount is different. Yeah, so now I need different lenses.
And different this.
And it's wow, this runs away really quick.
Yeah, exactly. Anything of a technology like that, it can easily run away with you. I mean, look at the example of, your latest.
My latest purchase was do I have it?
Do you have it there? Just so we can show people, because it's pretty cool.
So, and I'll tell you, like, recently I ran into a bit of cash and like buying one of those cameras was a thought in my head.
Sure.
And I'm like,
I don't think.
And I start looking into it. I'm like, okay, well, I'm buying cards. I'm buying this. I'm buying that. I need the full version of Resolve to handle all this footage. And then I'm like, you know what? All I would use it for is like a static fixed camera angle at the front of the stage. Fuck it. Like, This thing's $600.
Yeah,
and it's pretty damn close in terms of the quality
and
you
yeah,
get out of it.
And the thing is, so you and I, that's the thing. When you first got this, you brought it into the snack bar last week, and I looked at some of the footage that came off, and I go, that was great. I have thought of getting something like this when I was a lot more mobile, kind of thing.
Right.
But it's very compelling, and again, for what you just said, the price point and the what you can get out of it is pretty cool. However, the point being is that you had to show me the clamps that you got and the infrastructure. So again,
I still had to buy another freaking SD card for this thing.
There you go, right? So
and it got all whiny when I put the wrong type in. It needs the high fucking speed ones.
Yes.
So this was like $120 card.
Yeah.
You're like, ouch.
Yeah.
Like I didn't count on that.
Yeah, exactly, right. So again, there are times when, like you said, when price is no object, if you found that, like we just said, a camera will lead to much more expenses in infrastructure to get the best out of it. So we can go back kind of full circle to one of your earlier points of that, limiting yourself for creativity, right? Limitations are better for the artist, for anybody, I think, in the sense that what can you do with the tool that you have versus going, I want that really great tool.
Yeah.
You will learn more with the stuff that you have in hand.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, and look, I'm using a $3,000 camera.
Exactly. Yeah.
But you can take the same photos with a $500 camera.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. And that goes back to, guitars. I'll just say it was I will say I used to buy guitars and, I have some, I'll put it this way. The only time I really spent a lot of money on a guitar, I bought my second Les Paul, and I really did buy it on a whim. And when I was unemployed, and I really shouldn't have. And when I was really unemployed, I actually lost money selling it. However,
shit.
Hey, that's life. That's what happens in life. Anyway, if I were to, and that's the thing. If I were to go and buy a guitar, I like actually going to pawn shops or getting, because I know what I want and I know what I can do. I don't.
You'll find cooler shit that way.
Exactly. And I'll tell you this, I've never bought a brand new guitar. Just like I've never bought a brand new camera or a brand new lens.
Yes, I bought one.
Sure. But all my guitars were used, and especially I'm a rhythm guy. I was just I would rather have a guitar that's been kind of worked in.
Yeah.
And especially, I will just say the prices of new guitars now are just insane.
Yeah, that blew up.
And there are times, I think I will walk into a store and I will go, that shouldn't be X amount of money, because I know they used to sell those for this much amount of money. So it's the same guitar and the same manufacturer. It's
called supply and demand.
Exactly.
And if that's the price, I'm sure people are buying it at that price.
There's always going to be somebody going to buy it. But going into a pawn shop kind of experience and finding a gem.
Yeah.
I think I've told you a story. My favorite guitar that I gigged on with in the last, I think, 4 or 5 years in Ottawa, I bought a Japanese Strat with Seymour Duncan pickups, and they were all different.
Golden.
And it was a little beaten up, which I didn't mind. Actually, I liked it. And it was $300.
Fuck yeah.
I love that guitar. And the real reason when I picked it up, it was
it's a feel thing.
Definitely. That's the thing. It's a definite feel thing. And it was very resonant, not even plugged in. So to me, I was like, this is a good guitar. It sounds good on its own without plugging in. Maybe I don't want to plug it in because I'm not that great player, but you know what I'm trying to say. But it was $300.
Spare your neighbor's ears.
Yeah. So the best things, I would take it to gigs and like anything else, because I have a really nice Les Paul that I bought and I would gig with that. But I'd always be paranoid.
You're nervous.
Well, because somebody's going to fucking steal it on me while I'm having a beer between sets. And so I would people would be trying to talk to me, and I'd be looking at looking at Jay. I'm watching my fucking guitar on stage because I don't want anybody to rip off.
That's me with this.
Yeah. So that Japanese Strat that I have, I love it, but I was the other thing is if I'd had nicks, it was kind of dinged, and I didn't care. It gave it character. But I think it's if it got nicked, I'd be angry, but I wouldn't be rageaholic.
Right.
So
exactly.
That's the kind of thing now. So, and that's why I will tell people who want to get a guitar, because I help friends, especially with their kids. I'll say, let's go to a pawn shop. Or I will say, we can go to Long McQuaid as a store, but I'll go, give yourself a price point of $300. I don't care what your kid wants.
Yeah.
Right? Because I've seen this many times. It's the parent buys a guitar, they get the really cool thing. They don't know anything, right? The kid does. Well, we were kids once, because I flipped through my guitar magazine all weekend. I go, this is the one I want. How much does it cost? $1,200. parent might be, oh, okay, $1,200, okay. And then
and hey, to parents that have enough money kicking around, like I think that's why Long McQuaid can sell these things for $2,000 because your kid is just but I like this one, Dad.
There's always going to be that aspect, but it becomes that. Let's pull back, and I'll say, get the $300 guitar.
Yeah.
If your kid really likes it, then they will work at it. Because that's the thing. I learned music in public school, and I got my first guitar at 12, and I worked on it. Like I taught myself most of my guitar. I worked on it. I didn't have YouTube. What did I have? I had Tab. Tab was like the best thing ever when I was growing up. Because I to this day, I was flip. Oh yeah, that's where my fingers go. And so my music theory is terrible on guitar.
I know.
Or whatever. But I go, there you go. It's rock and roll. It's like goes here, goes there, goes there.
I don't know no theory.
Yeah, I don't need no theory.
I know rock.
Exactly. Is this mixolydian in E? I don't know what you're talking about. Shut up. Am I playing cello right now? No. But again, the concept of the $300 guitar, if your child really likes it, they will work at it. They will get better. Then you can improve. If they don't like it, then you just lost $300 because you know what's going to happen. Because I've seen this with parents and I joke with them. It's like you look in the corner and go, hey, yeah, where's Billy's guitar? That's gathering dust in the corner over there because he doesn't.
And then if you shopped smart, you go back to the pawn shop and sell it back to them for $400.
But yeah, see, there you go, right? So in that sense, and for adults too, I will say get something. Don't get the most expensive thing. There's some people go like that want to do that. I go, okay, fine. But I go something. It's like, do you want them like nice, pretty possession to look at, or do you want to actually learn to play?
Right. Well, and I would like point to the example of up in the local lounge, they have an SG hanging on the wall that Mars Bonfire signed.
Exactly. Yeah.
You don't pick that up and play it.
Exactly.
Because it's meant as a display piece.
Yes. Exactly. Right.
I would even respect if you did that with a Hasselblad and like had it on the shelf as a display piece.
Absolutely, yeah. That can be happening,
right?
Too, yeah.
Well, if you buy an old film one, like that's probably going to appreciate in value.
Oh yeah, no. Some that's like anything. Some film cameras, yeah, it's amazing too. The film can,
yeah, or like Leicas, I know is a big one.
Leicas have always been like that, and they're crazy. Like a Leica. That's the thing. It becomes one of those. I would really like one, but I have put it. It's a rangefinder, and I don't know if you've ever looked through one.
No.
So that's the thing. It's very analog.
Yeah. Right.
There is no optical viewfinder. So I mean, and when you're looking,
self-imposed restrictions.
And it's a very self-imposed restriction. And I, as a guy like photography wise, that you've seen, because I did a lot more film than digital, I will always compose through a viewfinder.
Sure.
That's why I don't use live view on my digital cameras at all. I will put it so I will sometimes, especially when I'm doing astrophotography, I will do it just as a check to go, okay, I got my framing right. Okay, let's just go, right? Because in that sense, you're doing like very long exposures and you're doing where I have to do at least an hour's worth, minute exposure, and you've got a tracker, you're tracking the sky, right? So I actually have to turn my live view off. Why? Because I'm taking hours of photos and I don't want...
And the light bleed is a factor.
The light bleed is a factor and it's going to drain my battery. I don't need to see these goddamn shots right now. So
sure.
I've turned that feature off to the point that I go, there are times that I go, like if I wanted to use my live view on any of my cameras, I have to go through the menu and turn it back on.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, wait, you're on a DSLR or a mirrorless?
I'm on a DSLR. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
With DSLRs, I appreciate the viewfinder because you're actually looking through the lens.
Yeah, and it's a good check for people.
People doing it on mirrorless.
Yeah,
that's where I'm like, I do it, go ahead, but like just acknowledge. There's not really a technical advantage here.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's a purely nostalgic thing.
And there is some nostalgia there too. And again, I guess there is too, because I would just say people can afford the higher end, mirrorless things are generally, older because they have disposable income, right? But like
even with mine, where like in a professional environment, I have never used the viewfinder.
Yeah.
Right? Like why is my whole thing. Right. And like, because you can't really get the same angles. You can't really get it low down to the ground or high up.
Yeah.
There's just limitations that go along with it.
Yeah.
But like, and I make fun of people for it, but like I appreciate why you're doing it. Yeah. It's like just what you're used to.
Yeah.
Right?
What you're used to. And that's why, because I did like from a photography point of view, I did start digitally, but when I started shooting on film, it's a completely different way. And I was shooting a lot of film, and that's why it makes you think. Like I definitely think differently, and especially, and I've told you this. Essentially, when I'm shooting on film, I really slow down. I really think what I'm doing because I've only got limited media. Like on 35 millimeters, maybe 36 shots on one can of film.
Yeah,
and
you don't know if you nailed it on any of them.
And exactly, and you shoot and you move on, and I sort of grew up with that. Those are the kind of cameras I had. I never really had a digital camera growing up. My parents never had one. You know, I can tell you this, like, I remember, like, I went on a trip, one of my best friends from university. So this is now what, 20, I think the summer of 2011.
Okay.
It was in the south of France. And I was like, oh, and I don't even think I had a cell phone then, or a good one. Yeah, I don't think so. So I'm in the south of France. I borrowed like an old Canon 4 megabyte camera from a friend of mine. I didn't really know how to use it, right?
Sure.
So I kind of quickly sort of taught myself. And so I have some, I should go back and look at them. Somewhere on a hard drive somewhere, I took these photos of this beautiful, that's the thing. I remember he got married in a 14th century chateau in the middle of the south of France. So this cool castle, cool architecture, right? It's south of France. I remember like driving around the landscape and taking that. I went to Carcassonne, which is a really medieval, site, from like the 11th century, if I remember right. So, I did a lot of photography there. But did I know what I was doing? No, but I go, at least, like, that's why the memory wise, and that's what I think that back then was like, I really got to get a camera. And that's the thing. I did a lot of travel back then, and I have no pictures of them whatsoever, right? Because I didn't have anything.
So that's a thing there with, I forget what I was even about to say here. Yeah, no, I lost it. Fuck. Jay, we're at an hour.
Okay.
I don't know. You want to keep talking about anything, or like, I think we're kind of done.
We can be done. Yeah, I don't have in my head not much to say, but yeah.
Well, this has been Freeform Jazz. Thank you for tuning in.
Yeah.
And I don't know, you're probably the first person that's going to get 2 episodes on this thing at some point.
Sure.
Just out of the practical necessity of sometimes I need a friend to just show up and do it, right?
Hey, and once again, it's free jazz exploration. We can talk about a myriad of things. So yeah. I'm up with that. So, yeah.
All right. Have a good one, Jay.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for coming.
All right.